what's the hardest question you ask your clients day one?
Well, what's your vision? I mean, I ask clients when we first meet, what do you want?
What do you want?
I've told this story before. And the answer I get most often is, well, what do you mean? And I said, I mean, what do you want? And they say, well, you mean my business or me personally or what? I said, well, your business personally, I don't care. What do you want? And they come back and say, you know, that's really a good question. And so having a vision for what you want your company to become is an essential because it guides everything you do. And I'll just tell you a story. I was in Colorado 2 weeks ago, and a friend of my daughter's has built a pretty substantial company that works internationally. And we were all out eating dinner. My very blessed as a father to have a daughter who would take you out to dinner with her friends. And I was talking to this lady, really interested, and she had just returned from, I think it was California, where she'd gone to a workshop where they were creating a vision for her company. I said, wow, that's awesome. That's the first question. What's your vision? What is it? She put her hands on the side of her face and she goes, I knew you were going to ask me that. I said, well, what's your vision? She said, oh, she couldn't remember. And I looked at her and she said, I know what you're going to say. And I said, yeah, well, I'm going to say it. In what sense is it a vision if you don't even know what it is? In other words, a lot of people create visions for something, or what they consider to be visions, so they have something to put on their website or something to say. And if you don't know what it is, you can be sure that your customers and your employees don't know what it is. And if nobody knows what it is, what direction do you go when you get up in the morning? Is your goal to delight your customers? Is your goal to get personally rich? Is your goal to serve your community? I mean, we'll get a little more specific than that, but what are you doing this for? And when I talk to people about it, a lot of times they're so caught up in well, I'll tell you what my vision is today, to get that cash in so that I can make payroll on Friday, right? Well, being organized so that happens, that's certainly a goal. That's not really a vision. And some people, I've had clients who can say immediately what it is, what their vision is. Most have a hard time with it, and most overthink it. And as a result, they wind up with a lot of platitudes. Matter of fact, I had copied one that it's Disney, so it's not directly related to contractors right now, but Disney, Walt Disney World, Disneyland, their mission or their vision used to be a smile on every face. Okay? That's a powerful vision.
Yeah.
I can remember it, and I can, as an employee, I can sit there am what I'm doing right now contributing to our goal or our vision of a smile on every face? Well, Walt Disney died, corporate took it over, and just a portion of it is Disney's vision from the internet, ... Using our portfolio of brands to differentiate our content, services, and consumer products, we seek to develop the most creative, innovative, and profitable entertainment experiences and related products in the world, ... And there are about 150 other words in there. I promise you, there is no one in the world, at Disney or otherwise, who knows what that has that memorized.
No.
If you've got to go to your website to find your vision, it is not a vision. I mean, it has to be something you really care about.
Yeah.
And I'll contrast that with the guy we've talked about before, Jeff Finney. I think we've had him on, haven't we?
We have. He's been a guest.
Yeah, cabinet manufacturer in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And when I first met him, I asked him what his vision was, and he said, this is 8 years ago, he said to be the most efficient cabinet component manufacturer in the world. Well, okay. Wow. And that is his vision. His mission, which we haven't talked about yet, but how he does that is by constant process improvement. And that is who this man is.
It is.
He couldn't not do that. He's thinking about that at night. He's thinking about it during the day. When he sees a change that needs to be made, he makes the change. It's who he is. His employees all know it. And if you don't align with that, if you don't like constant change, if you don't like them changing up the process and the way you do it, you're not going to last very long there.
Right.
But that is his vision. So
I think
that's
it's
clear.
I think it's such a difficult topic and a difficult thing for people to answer because so many people don't really know what they want just in their personal life too. You ask them what
Right.
you want on a personal level and they're like, I don't know, like I've just been running the rat race, trying to get money
Right.
and trying to get the kids to practice and make sure that the wife's happy or whatever it is. And
Or husband.
or husband. But I think so often we can get stuck in the trenches of doing something in the routine of our daily lives that we don't take a step back to understand the bigger picture, to understand why we're doing what we're doing.
Right.
Helen Keller, she has a quote, how terrible it must be to have sight but no vision.
Right.
And
Ooh.
I think that it's so true. Like you can be running a really great business, but really not be fulfilled. You can be, making a lot of money, but not necessarily on the right path for yourself. And I think vision really helps align your goals. It aligns your team. It aligns your customers, your brand. Just everything falls into place when you really figure that out. And that's why
Right.
it's so hard too. It's the first step because it's the first essential. Sorry, I said step.
Right.
Because it's the most important. And it really does make everything else become so much easier once you have it down. But it does need something that you don't have to sit here and read it or do a lot of work to memorize it. If you can't say it and have someone immediately just be like, oh, I get it, then it's not simple enough. It's not short enough to memorize.
Right.
So,
Well, let me just run through the 9 so people have an idea. And the first one is the vision. The second one is mission, is to have a mission. We'll distinguish between the two here shortly. The third is to have an identified culture that's written out. The fourth is to have goals, and we'll talk about those. The fifth is to have an organizational chart. The sixth is to have systems. Following systems is job descriptions, then what I will call how-tos, and then KPIs. So vision, mission, culture, goals, org chart, systems, job descriptions, how-tos, and KPIs are the 9 essentials to an organized business. So
yeah.
vision being the first one, and it guides everything.